everybody. It is Wednesday, October 9th, and this is day 9 of 31 projects in 31 days. I am Lori Bradley, and I am here in St. Louis, Missouri to show you today's project, and we are continuing with the winter Christmassy theme today. You're probably wondering why I'm not doing Halloween, because that's the next holiday, and that's because I have loaned out my Halloween stamp sets, but I should have those back tomorrow, so hopefully over the weekend you'll get to see some Halloween projects. Anyway, so in the meantime, we are continuing with Christmas, and today I'm going to use one of a kind. We're going to have a snowflake card, and we're going to use Peaceful Season words. I liked the words for that one to go with our card today. And then the other item that we're going to use is some Sentimental Wishes paper in a way that you know, are not the usual way. And then we're going to add in a little bit of textured metallic paper. So let's get started. Flip you around. Here we go. All right. Make sure you got it. Almost fell out of my holder. Sorry about that. It's a little crazy. All right, so we are going to make Thinking of You with Warm Feelings, because that is definitely a good thing to have when you're thinking about snowflakes. We are going to use the one-of-a-kind dies, which is a snowflake die. It's one of these cute little containers that holds our dies, and we're going to, I just cut the smaller snowflake. The other piece is just an outline, and the stamp set looks like this. We're not going to actually use the stamp set. I could come back in and put some snowflakes on the edges or on the inside, but I'm not going to actually do that for today's project. And then the outline cuts out this snowflake. So there's some fun words. They're just a little smaller than I wanted on the front of my card today. So instead, I'm going to use Peaceful Season, which has, the words are a little bit bigger. So that's the only reason that I'm not using the one-of-a-kind stamp set. And then for the designer series paper today, I am using the Sentimental Wishes, and I'm using the crumb cake snowflake pattern, the white snowflakes on the crumb cake, or maybe that's actually pecan pie, or maybe pecan pie. And the deer. I'm not using the deer, but that's just the back side of the deer. So that one was actually a good pattern for both. I don't normally do neutral Christmas cards, but I kind of liked this. I thought it was pretty. So first of all, I have everything cut already, so we don't have to worry about that. I'm going to go ahead and cut. I need to score and fold my card base. So I've got that. This one's super simple once you get it all figured out. Then you're going to be so shocked and amazed. If you've been watching my lives this week, you know that I've used Spotlight on Nature a couple of different times because it is actually my favorite thing in the catalog. So that's just my little plug for that. I have a strip of the copper metallic, textured metallic. Can you see the texture in that? And then I cut a strip of the snowflake paper, and I have already die cut and put adhesive sheet on the back, copper snowflakes. And I'm going to go ahead and build my panel before I put it on the card. So let's do that. I'm not sure if this is my good glue or the one that didn't work yesterday. It is the one that didn't work yesterday. You'd think that I would have remembered to replace that, but here we are, day 9, and I still don't have all my tools. Okay, put our adhesive on our snowflake pattern on the back, and then actually I want to go down one side or the other. It doesn't matter because the pattern, I'm going to go right along that edge because I want to put my copper strip right on there. So that way that's stuck together. I can line those up. And then I can go ahead and put the adhesive on the back of that piece, and we can adhere it right to the front of our card. Okay, so let's Oop, except I got it a little bit crooked. Hopefully I can straighten it out. This is why we use liquid glue. You know what? It is gonna be okay. Or, so if you do this, if you get in trouble and you have a little bit of a crooked, you can see that it's a little wider at the top than the bottom. Take your trimmer. Grab my trimmer. I had my table all straightened up today and I totally got it all messed up. Okay, so I'm just going to take that and I'm going to lay it so that the adhesive side is up, and I'm just going to straighten that out. So now, to gently pull that off there, but now our edge is straight, and I have this tiny little piece that I cut off, which maybe no one would notice, but I noticed. Okay, so, yeah, oops is exactly right, Pam. See, it happens to all of us. We all mess up sometimes, but that was an easy fix. So if that happens to you, just flip your page over so you can see where the glue is, and then just go for it. Okay, so we've got our panel on here. Now I've got my Spotlight on Nature die cut, and I'm going to stamp that in copper clay ink. I'm just going to use copper clay. I thought that would be a little bit stand out against that crumb cake, but it also matches the copper snowflakes that we're going to do. So I'm just going to move that a little closer to myself so I can see. All right, and then there we go. Now I have 3 snowflakes, but the one thing I'm going to do first, that's all the stamping. That is all the stamping for this one. Super easy. There you have it. Okay, now I am going to put I'm going to place my snowflakes, kind of figure out where I want to put those so that they stick out of my thing here. Put one maybe there. I'm not gluing these down yet, obviously, because they have adhesive on the back. Okay, kind of decide where I want to put it, but I want to go ahead and put my ribbon, my linen thread, through the hole on here because I'm not using dimensionals, so that way I can just glue it down and figure out. So I want to put it in this hole right here is where I want to put it. So I'm going to loop my linen thread right through there so we don't have to use a glue dot. We don't have to worry about that. We're just going to loop it through. Actually, I'm going to put it on this one, I think. When you were a kid, did your mom sew and she would lick the end of the thread to get it threaded through the needle? Did that happen? Do you remember that? Was that a thing? My mom did that. I assumed everybody's mom did that. All right. I could put it through the bigger hole, but I want to make it through the little hole. Apparently I didn't lick it enough. Don't tell the person that receives this card that I licked their thread. Oh my goodness, maybe I should go from the front. There we go. Oh. See, I thought this was going to be so much easier. As you're laughing in the background. Oh. Yeah, see, I think it's a real thing. I think that's what seamstresses do. They just lick the thread and make it work. I think what I did is now I messed up my thread because every day it's a new problem for Lori. See? I did this when no one was watching perfectly. All right, maybe we'll just go through the big hole. That's what we're gonna do. Goodness gracious. See, now it's gone just fine. So I'm just gonna maybe do about that much. There's no right or wrong. I really want it through that small hole. Just because I know I can. Maybe I should use the other end of the thread. That might be smart. I know, that's what I'm trying to do. Lick it, twirl it in my finger so that it's really thin, and then poke it through. That's the way it's supposed to work. There we go. It just took the 3rd time's the charm. Okay, so I'm just going to tie a knot. Thanks for the advice, Pam. I appreciate that. Goodness gracious. Anybody who uses thread, anybody who sews that's watching this is shaking their head at me right now. Okay, so I just have the knot. I have a knot right there. I've got it through the hole. And then I'm just gonna twirl my twine around a couple of times. I don't want a really tight bow. I'm gonna make this one a little bit looser. And the reason I'm not, I want a tight one is I want to see how, I want it to kind of fall. I want it to be a little more casual. All right. And then I'll trim those in just a minute. But if I keep them long, then I know which one to tighten. Okay, now, if you haven't used adhesive sheets, I did use adhesive sheet, and I put it on the back already, and it just peels off. You put you put it on the back, and then you peel it off. It acts just like a sticker. And I have to poke out my center of my Snowflakes. And it's best if you do that in the trash, especially if you've recently vacuumed. You probably want to make sure you don't get all the extra little copper pieces all over your floor. Ask me why I would advise that, because goodness knows that's what I did earlier today. Sometimes when you pull off the adhesive sheet, it pulls all those little pieces out. Sometimes it doesn't. Okay, so we know this guy goes about here, so let's put him about right there. So there's enough adhesive on there that it holds it down. And then the other two I think I'm going to put on top. So I'm going to go ahead, put my adhesive on the back of our Spotlight on Nature circle. And then we can place our other ones based on that. Okay. I'm going to do the last one. Or no, it's not the last one. I've got two more. Sometimes I find it easier to poke them out when the adhesive sheet is still on the back, and that way both pieces come off. Sometimes if you poke it afterwards, then it gets all sticky. So sometimes it's just easier to pull those off together. Okay, now I just have to find the edge of the adhesive sheet, and that's the hard part. Not all my pieces are loose, so that's good. And that's the hard thing. When it's white on the back, then it's harder to see where that adhesive sheet actually is. I know it doesn't cover the whole thing because it was a narrow strip. Here we go. You don't have to cover fully the whole thing necessarily. Whoop. Oh goodness. Gotta move it closer to me so I can actually see. So if you can't figure it out, because this background is white, if it's on a piece of garden green paper, then you could easily see. But if you can't see, then the easiest thing to do, I was hoping that one of those edges would come loose. Why is this card not as easy as what I expected it to be? Goodness gracious. You can take your pick tool, find an edge. I do see different colors. There we go. Here we go. Whew. All right. Maybe I need new glasses. Maybe that's the problem. Okay. And we'll poke out those little pieces. Like I said, sometimes it's easier to do that beforehand because now these pieces are stuck right here on the back. Okay. All right. So then that just makes it like a sticker. Got it down there, and then we've got our last one. We'll poke the pieces out. I'm not really ready for snow. It's supposed to be warmer this week, and then next week quite a bit cooler, so hopefully that helps with my snow thinking next week. Believe it or not, I already have tomorrow's card planned. I'm going to use a little bit more of this metallic paper, but in a different color, so if you like shine and glimmer and that kind of thing, stick around, come back tomorrow, and I will show you another piece. Tomorrow we're using the gold textured metallic. Okay, pull off our sheet. That piece was in 2 pieces because why wouldn't it be easy? I think the light underneath my thing is bad, like from my angle. There we go. Whew. All right, now let's put one up here. Like I said, no right or wrong where you put your snowflakes. So now I've got my 3 my 3 snowflakes on there. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put my panel on the front, and I'm going to use dimensionals for that. I'll go ahead and use big ones so I don't have to. It's a little easier on bigger panels. You can do the corners. Sometimes if it's a longer panel, I like to put those on the middle section as well, just to hold up the middle. Right on the front of our card. And then once I've got it where I want it, then I'm going to trim tails of my ribbon. You could also use probably the copper clay twine, but it's a little thicker, so I was afraid it was too thick. We don't have a metallic copper, but I do have metallic copper gems that would be very pretty here. So we're going to use those copper gems. And that was one of the reasons why I put my ribbon on first, so I knew where I could put my gems. Put one down here. And then maybe a couple of smaller ones. And there you go. Simple, but elegant because of the copper with the shine. You can see that. This could easily be done in any color. If you had different snowflake paper, there's several different patterns of snowflakes in some of the different packages. But today's is crumb cake and pecan pie and a little bit of copper. I hope that you enjoyed this one, and we will see you back here tomorrow at 2 o'clock for tomorrow's day 10. So thanks for joining me for day 9. Hope to see you soon.